Hey everyone, this is a refresher for photosynthesis. The object of the game is to use light points to take your trees through their life cycles, from seedlings to fully grown. Fully grown trees are exchanged for scoring tokens, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. To set up the game, each player chooses a board and then places their light trackers, seeds, and trees on their board. Then each player places their remaining trees and seeds next to their board. Then stack the scoring tokens into 4 piles in descending order so that the highest scores are at the top of each pile. The youngest player goes first and takes the first player token. Taking turns, each player will place one of their available small trees on a space on the edge of the board. Then they'll take turns again, placing a second tree. Now place the sun on the sun symbol and put the revolution counters on the edge of the board in numerical order. Leave the 4th counter in the box unless you're playing the advanced version. If you're only playing with 2 players, leave the scoring tokens that have 4 leaves on them in the box. For this video, I'll be simulating a 2-player game, so I'll remove these tokens. If you need to collect a scoring token from the middle 4-leaf space, you take a token from the 3-leaf stack instead. Each round has 2 phases: the photosynthesis phase and the life cycle phase. In the photosynthesis phase, you collect light points, and in the life cycle phase, you take actions using light points. In the photosynthesis phase, the player with the first player token moves the sun clockwise to the next angle on the board. Then each player counts their light points. Remember that the sun does not rotate during the first round of the game. Players get light points for each tree that is not in the shadow of another tree. You can never have more than 20 light points. A small tree is worth 1 light point, a medium tree is worth 2 light points, and a large tree is worth 3 light points. Trees cast shadows onto trees that are the same size or smaller on the opposite side of the sun. Trees that are taller than shadow-casting trees are not shadowed and receive full points. Small trees cast a shadow 1 space away, medium trees cast a shadow 2 spaces away, and large trees cast a shadow 3 spaces away. It's important to note that your own trees can cast shadows on your own variety. So for example, if you wanted to score this board, this tree would get 3 points because it's not in the shadow of any other tree. This would get 2 points. This tree would get 0 because it's in the shadow of this tree. This tree would get 2 points because it's not in any tree's shadow, and this would get 1 point. So that's 3, 2, 2, and 1. So 8 total. The blue player would get 2 points for this tree. It would get 0 points for this tree because it's in the shadow of green's large tree, which casts a shadow 3 spaces. This tree would get 3 points, and this tree would not get any points because it's in the shadow of the medium tree, which casts a shadow 2 spaces away. So that's 3 and 2, 5 points total. So if we go back to the game that we were playing, each player would score 2 light points because they have 2 small trees on the board. Each player will score their light points, then the player with the first player marker will take their turn. Once their turn is over, it's the next player's turn in clockwise order. On your turn, you can spend as many light points as you want on any number of actions. You can choose to use all of your light points, or you can only use some of them, leaving the rest to be used in future rounds. Each player takes all the actions they wish to take before it's the next player's turn. Remember that spaces can only be activated once per turn. So if you activate a space on the main board by taking an action, you can't take another action on that same space until your next turn. The actions you can choose to take on your turn are buying, planting a seed, growing a seed, and collecting. The buy action allows you to spend light points to purchase seeds or trees of any size from your player board. These are the light costs here. So this would cost 1, this would cost 2 light points, this would cost 3, and this would cost 4. You always buy seeds or trees from the bottom up. So for example, if I wanted to buy a seed, I would have to buy this seed here. Then I could buy this seed, then this one, and then this one. Same with the trees, you have to buy from the bottom up. Once you buy a seed or tree, subtract the cost from your light points and place the seed or tree in your available area. So if I wanted to buy this seed, I would pay 1 light point and I would put it in my available area. Planting a seed is another action you can take. Each seed in your available area can be planted around one of your trees for 1 light point. Seeds can be planted up to 1 space away from a small tree, up to 2 spaces away from a medium tree, and up to 3 spaces away from a large tree. Seeds can be placed in any direction, and they don't have to be in a straight line. The spaces just have to connect. So if I had a large tree on the board and I wanted to plant a seed, I would pay 1 light point, and then I could place it here, which would be 1 space, 2 space, and 3 spaces away. Planting a seed activates both the tree you planted the seed from and the space where you planted the seed. Since you can only take 1 action per space in the same turn, each of your trees on the board can only be used to plant 1 seed each per turn. You also wouldn't be able to grow a tree and then use that tree to plant a seed because growing the tree activates the tree. Growing a tree is another action you can take. A seed or tree can be replaced by a tree that is the next size up. Growing a seed to a small tree costs 1 light point. Growing a small tree to a medium tree costs 2 light points, and growing a medium tree to a large tree costs 3 light points. You must take new trees from your available area when growing a tree. Trees and seeds that are removed from the main board are placed back onto your player board on the topmost space available. If no spaces are open, the trees or seeds are removed from the game and placed back in the box. So if I wanted to grow this seed into a small tree, it would cost 1 light point. So I would pay the light point. I would take a small tree from my available area here. I would remove the seed from the board, and I would put it back in the box because there is no spot for it here on my player board. If there was an open spot, then I would simply place it at the very bottom. Another example would be if I wanted to grow the medium tree into a large tree, it would cost 3 light points. So I would need to have a large tree in my available space so that I can grow it. So then I would pay 3 light points. I would remove the medium tree from the board, place the large tree, and the medium tree would go back on the board in the bottom space. Collecting is another action you can take. You can collect scoring tokens by ending the life cycle of your large trees, and it costs 4 light points per tree. To take the collection action, spend 4 light points and then remove one of your large trees from the board and then place it back on your player board on the topmost available space. You then take a scoring token with the same soil type that matches the space of the large tree you just removed from the board. So if I wanted to collect this tree, I would pay 4 light points. So I would pay the 4 light points. I would remove the large tree from the board. I would place it on the topmost space available. And since the large tree was on a 2-leaf space, I would take a 2-leaf scoring token. After all players have taken a turn, the first player token is passed to the next player clockwise, and a new round starts with the Photosynthesis Phase. So I would pass the first player token, rotate the sun, and all players would score light points. When the sun has completed 1 revolution around the board, the top token of the sun revolution counter pile is drawn and then put back in the box. The game ends when the sun has completed 3 revolutions around the board and the last sun counter has been drawn. Once the counter has been drawn, the game immediately ends. Everyone then counts the points on their scoring tokens. They also add 1 point for every 3 unused light points rounded down. So in this row, you'd get 1 bonus point. In this row, you would get 2, this row 3, and so on. The player with the most points wins the game. If there's a tie, the winner is the player with the most seeds and trees on the main board. That's Photosynthesis. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more Cosmic Tavern.